projects to do. One of the first trips we want to take is down to Big Bend, down to Black Gap Trail, get that badge, add to the badges, you know. Then we have a trip scheduled for August with the Kansas City Jeep Club to head on out to the trails around Ouray, and so we got to get a few things ready. I've got to organize everything, and I've got a whole lot of parts that came in, so I usually hate unboxing videos, but that's sort of what today is going to be, apparently. Got some spacers that we're going to put on. I know a lot of people say good and bad things about spacers, but since this vehicle is meant for off-road and I need the stability, we're going with spacers. We've got a delivery from Detroit Axle. During the last off-roading trip we took, we had some issues with brakes, so oh yeah, slotted and drilled. That ought to keep them cooler. Next, yeah, all this shit fits in the back of a Camaro, I know. It's crazy. We've got the Badlands 12,000. It needs to get mounted up here, you know, in case we get stuck, which isn't going to happen because it's a Jeep. And I got to replace the battery because this one is not holding a charge for very long. So that means I'm going to come up with a solar solution and a second battery. And to do that, I have to organize this shit into something with a resemblance of order and organization. So I'm going to build a little platform, a couple of tool drawer boxes, get all this stuff put away. And over here on the right hand side where the cigarette lighter is going is where our second battery and solar panel is going to plug into to always keep the secondary battery charged, which will also charge up the tool batteries and our air compressor that we're going to have installed as well. So, got a lot of projects coming up. Hey YouTube, sorry about the overall appearance and how sweaty I am, but it is Missouri on a 90+ degree day with humidity somewhere equaling Goldfish Bowl. So we got this cleaned out, as you can see. My wife helped me graciously. She's behind the camera at the moment, guys. Sorry.
Hi, guys.
And we got this cleaned out. We got the old battery out of the Jeep, and we are going to put it here. And some of you are going to think to yourselves immediately, well, why wouldn't you put it over on the side that has the outlet on it, right? Because this is the only side that has full drawer access when the tailgate is open. So I'm going to put the short drawer over here on the left, which means that's where the battery can go because it won't interfere with that drawer at all. If I put it over here on the right, that battery sticks out too far. I lose too much valuable space for a full-length drawer. So I will have to run a couple of wires over to the battery. I don't think that that's a really big idea since it's only going to be two wires, a positive and a negative. because the rest of it can still be over on this side. I can't use this, what, 5 inches of space essentially, so that's where I'm going to put my power center with the multiple plugs and USB plugs and probably the inverter so that I can charge the tool batteries as well. This drawer then will run the full length here. This drawer will run a half length on this side, and then I have hinges here so that I can have a multiple layer top on top of this, and when the seats are down I can then fold it out to have a completely flat surface for either hauling stuff or for sleeping if we're out on a trail unexpectedly and can't get off the trail. So that's where I'm at this moment, and I'll check back in when I have some wood cut. All right, everything is out of the back of the Jeep, and did some work earlier, not on video, because you guys know how to cut wood. So all I did was create a simple platform. Got my rails on here. They are 100-pound rails. So next up is to make the drawers, and this is why we do test fittings. So while I did get my square measurements perfect, I need to cut off these corners so that it fits better up into here so that the back seat can continue to fall all the way forward. So not that big a deal, but you have to make sure you get your drawers 2 inches up at a minimum to get over the top of this thing. So as you can see, those ought to come out just fine. I made this one short, like I said earlier, so that we can avoid where I'm putting the battery back there. So something struck me as I was going back over the video just on the phone. By the way, if you hadn't noticed, between some of the earlier videos and now, I do have a new phone, so the video quality and the sound quality is a little bit better. Thank you all. Let's see if I can not put the sun in your eyes. Something that may not be obvious that I said a minute ago is that you guys know how to cut wood, and I'm sure you do. But one thing that is not common knowledge to people that don't work with wood on a common basis is screws are not enough, especially when dealing with plywood. Plywood will simply just split and you'll have nothing after a couple of years, so all of your effort is for naught. The thing that holds any wood project together is glue. So as you can see, there's glue here. So when I was putting this together, you glue the top of your upright and then set it down on your line. So you can see there's a good line there, and you screw it in. The screws really are there to hold it until the glue dries. So don't rely on the screws. The screws will simply split the plywood, and then this whole thing falls apart after just a couple of years. That still clears good, and then I'll just put my USBs in that handy little pocket. That battery fits just, so that'll be nice. I'll just run a little wire over all the way to that battery. I will probably put the air compressor right here. What do you want to bet that air compressor fits? It's a Smitty belt that I got for Christmas. It was a gift from my mother-in-law, the same mother-in-law that I've talked about in the videos before. In case you're not aware, it's about 95 degrees today in Missouri. It's not even summertime. I got a solar panel on top. I might just leave this sucker on and stick it up my shirt or something, man. Woo! Or not. So now, that can tuck away right there, and this tucks away right there. That tucks away, and now we have off-road air hooked up to our secondary battery, the deep cycle battery. Deep cycle battery right now is hooked up to the solar panel, which is up on the roof at the moment. So, and there you go. Right now I've just got the wire coming down. Since I'm working on this, rear deck's up, so. But eventually, I am going to have to figure out how I'm going to run that in here. And then we are going to up and up. So, we're going to get ourselves some, there we go. Get ourselves a couple of brackets or something. And mount that so that we always have power to that secondary battery. When I make a rack up here for a rooftop tent or something, I will figure out a way so that that's not blocked off. But for now, it's working as I'm working, which means I don't have to worry about it so much. I will have power to the air compressor to blow myself off. Before I go in, I wanted to talk about something. So one of the other gifts I got this last Christmas was the Tover 6-piece tire deflators off of Amazon. You know that this channel is not sponsored by anybody, but when I like a product, I will go ahead and talk really cool things about them. This one is made in China. Most things are anymore. But they come in a 6-pack, and you essentially set the tire pressure you want, and by turning the end cap, and then there's a little set screw, and then all you have to do is screw it on to your tire, and it will deflate to the preset PSI. And I really like these things. We've used them on a number of occasions since Christmas, we were just out at Tuttle Creek this last weekend, pulled up to the off-road park while everybody else was using the restroom. I screwed these onto all 4 tires, walked off, left them on the whole day, didn't have to worry about it because they are preset to drop down. We got down to about 14 psi this last weekend. Drove around with them, absolutely no issues whatsoever. Once they're down to their preset psi, they don't deflate more, so you don't have to worry about that. At the end of the day, put them back in here, which I have to clean these because they still have really disgusting mud on there. My God, that was some vile smelling mud. Then you just put them back in here at the end of the day. Which is why I'm mounting the air compressor right now. It's because these things, these are great. And the air compressor was a lifesaver because there's no air out there at Tuttle Creek. So if you don't bring your own air, you are screwed. So we pulled off the trails at the end of the day. Everybody runs back into the restrooms since I pretty well shook every bodily fluid out of them. And while they were in there, I aired up and we hit the road. It was great. Love these deflators. If you don't have a set of deflators, get a set of deflators. If you need a recommendation, the Tover 6-piece set, absolutely no issues with them. They're solid brass. They are made really nicely. Because they're brass, they're not going to rust. They may tarnish eventually. And then the Smittybilt air compressor, phenomenal. One more to go. All right, there it is. So I still got a couple of things I got to put away here and organize, but I got to figure out a way to lock down the jack. So, but it is. There we are. And these are my spare parts. So yeah, it's a Jeep, so baling wire is the spare part. So we've definitely got our organization complete. Time to move on to the next project.